Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's Allan Labucan. I'm the founder of the Allan Reports, and I've got another big show for today. Some of the picks that have been on the recent past shows have performed exceptionally well. I've got one that I think is pretty much run its course, and a couple that I think are still very early in their growth phases, and I got one that I think is very oversold on the gold front now. Before I get into those picks, let's talk a little bit about gold and silver. Silver's being one that I'm getting very bullish on. I've been a bull on gold since the early part of 2016, and the reason was I thought that we had ended the few-year bear market and we were starting a new gold bull market that I believe will be somewhat like what we saw between 2001 and 2011, a decade-long kind of bull market. The fundamentals of supply are just lining up in a way that I think it's inevitable that gold's going a lot higher. But since I've been saying that, gold has gone higher. But silver hasn't quite kept pace, and I believe that you want to be looking at silver. It's why I put a silver project here in Mexico into Advanced Gold, where I'm the president and CEO. I'm very bullish on silver. I think there's not a lot of silver stocks out there, and the difficulty is really finding good exploration companies. So I'm trying to put one together myself there. So with gold, again, we're seeing a long-term period of declining grades of discovery, of declining grades of head grades at mines, and that's not changing. And what's happening is these grades are in decline, they're mining out a lot of big deposits that were found historically, and now those are running dry, and we need new discoveries. So on that note, as again I said, I'm very bullish on gold, but and silver as well, and other commodities. But let's get on to some gold picks. The one that I think is very oversold right now, and actually had news out today, was GTT. That's GT Gold. GTGold.ca is their website. They had news out that they hit a 0.5 meter of 220 grams per ton of gold at their Saddle project in British Columbia. And this one's is in a pretty high grade type of a system, and that's what we're hoping for, is that we have another important Eskay Creek, northern BC golden triangle type discovery, and it's really starting to look like that. But what's difficult is these kind of discoveries are not always easy for the market to figure out. I've followed a few in my reports over the years that we saw go from the early days of their discovery right through to, in a couple cases, them being taken over. PVG, Pretium, was one of those, and this one is reminding me a lot of what I saw happen with Pretium. I'm just going to pull away for a second here, folks. Sorry. Pretium was one that I had found early. Gold Eagle out in Red Lake, Ontario. We found that one at the early stages. They ended up being brought out for $1 billion. This GT Gold has a very high grade discovery. I'm hoping that they start looking towards a path similar to what Pretium did in the early days of their discovery. They moved pretty quickly into a bulk sample of their material to try to see if these grades could be reproduced in their bulk sampling, and sure enough, it showed very high grades. And now that they're in production, the production grades are looking a lot more like the bulk sample grades, than what was in the drill hole grades. So you got to be careful with these big high grade systems. They are not easy to figure out, but these guys are on. They hit high grade with practically every hole. They're all over 15, 14, 10 grams, 12 grams, over 4 meters, 46 grams over a meter with 10 grams of gold. They're very early. They have a lot more work to do, but this is one you want to be looking at when they get punished. And for some odd reason, they got punished today on what I thought is very good news. Now, why I'm so bang on the desk bullish about them is they've got a whole lot more holes to report. So and they were making extremely bullish comments about their work that they had done to analyze the potential of the grade. And I think that they're going to return some very handsome stuff. GTT is their symbol. They are down 16% today. I think that's dramatically oversold. They closed at $1.17. I like when good stocks are on sale. This one's on sale. This is one you want to be looking at right away. One you want to be avoiding right now is a company that I've talked about on past shows when they were a lot cheaper. In fact, at one time I did some consulting for this company. Garibaldi is their name, Garibaldi Resources. And on this one, I think you want to be careful with this one. They now have, they've moved in just a matter of months, 3 months. July, they were trading at about 20 cents. Now they're trading at $3.64. The animal spirits are working in the gold business, and this one's on a very strong promotion. But I think it's run its course. It's looking very overvalued to me. If you got in cheaper and you haven't taken all your money out and then some, you really want to look at your strategy, because you know it is very difficult to find companies that move like that. And when they move like that and they haven't hit what they're looking for yet, they're looking for massive sulfides over thick intersections. That's what they found at Voisey's Bay. That's what makes these big kind of deposits. You get into a chamber where you've got enough of these massive sulfides. You hit 100 meters, 200 meters of very high grade. They're hitting disseminated to somewhat massive sulfides over narrow intersections. That's what they've shown in their pictures on their website. Until I hear that they've hit massive sulfides over thick intersections, I certainly wouldn't be paying $3.64 for it. I'd be selling it as fast as I could. So that's one I think you want to avoid these days. GGI is their symbol. And I, you know what, I feel that way whether this company does have Voisey's Bay 2.0 or not. There's going to be lots of opportunities in a Voisey's Bay type discovery. Lately, this stock has went from 20 cents to $3.64 in a few months. If you're in cheap at any price, you should have all your money out. This is a risky play for me right now based on what I've seen from their drill core. As I said, if they change and they start hitting massive sulfides over thick intersections, I'll change my opinion. But until then, I'd avoid this one. Another company I want to talk about, this was a technology company that I picked on the day they started trading. They were trading at $1. In a short period of time, they've gone up to $3.12. Now, I just warned you seconds ago about how, you know, when a company like a GGI has gone up dramatically, you want to take some profits. Hive has already gone up a few 100% for people that were in early from listening to it on this show. And I still don't think you want to be, I still think you want to be accumulating this one, accumulating it on any dips. The reason is that even though they have over half $500 million valuation, they're in the blockchain business, the cryptocurrencies, this sort of stuff. I'm bullish on them mainly because they are they're partnered up with a leading miner of cryptocurrencies. And secondly, that they're a leader in this blockchain technology. I think that there's going to be a lot of applications for that, where there will be a lot of transactions, little bit of money made on each of those transactions. Bunch of those little transactions add up to big transactions. And so I feel very highly that Hive Blockchain is going to be a multi-billion-dollar valuation company. That's what happens when these small growth junior technology companies hit the good times. And I believe this company is headed towards that. HIVEblockchain.com is their website. HIVE blockchain.com. Their symbol is HIVE. That's another one I'm a big fan of since the day they started trading, and I think will be in this name for a long time. Look for any dips. Another one that had some great news out today is a company that I've been following in the reports for a couple months now. It just had a great show last week with John Kaiser, and John and I went over Novo Resources. Novo has what looks like the start of another Australian gold rush. They're looking for a Witwatersrand 2.0, and I'm now starting to call it Witwatersrand 2. Wow. They have, when I first started talking about them, they were really cheap. They got over $7, $8, and I said, take some profits, take some of the risk out. That was because before that, we had a good scientific concept that it had found some gold, but we hadn't had anything with the truth machine that suggested that, yeah, there's something great here. They announced some drilling, and it's not that they announced the assay holes. These drills are there. They're trying to profile this conglomerate layer. Okay, it's like a big layer of a cake in the earth. It's 4 to 15 meters thick, and it potentially goes on for kilometers of strike and kilometers down dip. And they're finding these big gold nuggets in that conglomerate. One concern I had was how thick was the conglomerate. Now we know it's between 4 and 15 meters from what they've drilled so far. So you've got some nice thickness there, and now they're also identifying that there's a certain package of that rock, that conglomerate bed, where the nuggets are most distributed. In the other package, not so much. It's near the top. And so how much of that 4 meters to 15 meters is going to be mineralized and distributed with these big nuggets? But here's the thing you have to remember. This is not like WITS 1.0 where you're looking for fine gold. These are big, thick nuggets, and they seem to be well distributed at the bottom of what used to be filled with water. And that at that top is where the gold leached out, and it's sitting in that top layer of what's now this conglomerate bed. And as I said, they announced that it's 4 meters to 15 meters. And because of what they announced today, I picked it early. I made some comments that I thought people should take some profits to take risk out. My view now is I think that I'm seeing the stuff with the truth machine that has me very excited about this possibly being bigger than WITS 1.0. That's why I'm calling it WITS 2. Wow. And it's all to do with the thickness of that bed and the size of the grains of gold. These are big nuggets. You don't need a lot of them in each package of rock, but if you get it nicely distributed throughout that conglomerate body, you're going to have millions and millions and millions of ounces of gold. And I'm going to also use this opportunity to say two things. One thing about the company, if we're closing note, I think this is one you want to be accumulating on any dips. You see any dips in that stock, you want to be taking you want to be buying into those dips. I think this is one that's got a long-term big growth horizon in it. And when you have these dips, that's when you want to be looking at increasing your position and holding a core position. I think anybody serious about gold exploration wants to own some of this as a core holding, and I think you'll do very well with that core holding. The other thing I wanted to say is that John Kaiser and I did this show last week, and it was very well received by my audience. There was a lot of viewers that were excited about it. I got emails, I got notices on Twitter, Facebook, all over the place, CEO.ca. Everybody was telling me how much they enjoyed watching the show. So I want to tell you that I've got a couple things on the immediate horizon. Artemis, I'm interviewing David Lenegast from Artemis tomorrow. They're partnered up with Novo on part of Novo's, it's part of the big project with Novo, and on these conglomerate beds. And I'm having him on tomorrow. And then John Kaiser and I are working on a whole new series of shows. He's building some tools on his website so that investors can stay on top of not just Novo, Artemis, all the other area players around there. Because in his mind and my mind as well, I think that there could be a well-distributed amount of winners in this project. So we're going to stay on top of it. Tune in for those future shows. Thank you very much for joining me today. Speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. This show is only for information purposes. Have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.